Boys and girls, I have brought along my slideshow once again. Today, we're going to look at slides of my friends, some of whom are cold-blooded animals and some of whom are warm-blooded animals. By the sound of it, you would think that warm-blooded animals have warm blood and cold-blooded animals have cold blood, but that is just not the case. The body temperature of a cold-blooded animal changes according to its surroundings or environment of that animal, whereas a warm-blooded animal maintains the same temperature all of the time. I heard that you're keeping a foldable to sort or classify animals into groups. What a great idea! You are practicing taxonomy, the study of classifying organisms, exactly like taxonomists do. You're going to be learning how to sort animals in lots of different ways. Today, we're going to sort these 5 vertebrate groups into 2 smaller groups. By discovering some common characteristics, you'll learn how to tell which animals are cold-blooded and which animals are warm-blooded. Now, I'd like to help you understand a little more about cold-blooded animals. Paulo Piranha lives in the country of Colombia on the continent of South America. He's a fish. His body temperature, the measure of how warm his body is on the inside, changes with his surroundings. Right now, his temperature is the same as the water in which he is swimming. When you go swimming, chances are the water is colder than your body temperature. Paulo does not even feel cold in the water because there's no difference between his temperature and the water temperature where he lives. Have you ever used a thermometer? Perhaps when you're sick, your parents or a nurse might measure your temperature with a thermometer. When warm-blooded people get ill, their temperatures often rise or go up. A person's normal body temperature is about 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, and it remains constant, or about the same, most of the time. That's very different from Paulo. The way in which an animal's body temperature is controlled determines whether it's a cold-blooded or warm-blooded animal. My friend Paulo told me that his internal or inside body temperature is never constant. It does not stay the same. He cannot heat his body from the inside like you, so his temperature must change with his surroundings in order for his body to work properly. He becomes hot when it is hot around him and cold when it is cold around him. Okay, boys and girls, during the next part of this read aloud, I want you to listen for the main idea. Here it comes. So you see, although you and Paulo are both vertebrates, you also have differences. One of you is cold-blooded and one of you is warm-blooded. You're right. You are the warm-blooded one, so that makes Paulo, the cold-blooded one. Most fish are cold-blooded. In fact, most animals on Earth are cold-blooded. 2 of my other friends are cold-blooded as well. Does anyone know who else among them is cold-blooded? Well, next I'd like to tell you a little bit about Anna Anaconda. Okay, boys and girls, in that last paragraph, the main idea was that vertebrates are warm and cold-blooded. That's what the paragraph is mostly about. Like Paulo, Anna lives in the rainforest of South America, but in the country of Peru. Does anyone remember what group of animals Anna belongs to? That's right! Anna Anaconda is classified as a reptile, and she shares some of Paulo's characteristics. They're both cold-blooded, but that does not mean that they don't enjoy being warm. Anna loves the heat. Her body is very long indeed, and she told me that one of her favorite things to do is to bask in the sun. The sun helps her stay warm, and her body soaks up the heat from the warm ground as well. Because she can't control her own body temperature, Anna depends upon the sun and her warm surroundings to keep properly warm. In fact, my other cold-blooded friend, Tabitha Toad, likes the sun too. Frogs and toads share some of the same characteristics as fish and reptiles. They use their surroundings to maintain or keep constant the proper body temperature. Yes, indeed, Tabitha Toad is cold-blooded, just like Paolo and Anna. And like Paolo and Anna, Tabitha is very comfortable around water. She comes from the Amazon rainforest in the country of Brazil. But just because her home is near the largest river in the world, it doesn't mean she lives in water all the time. Tabitha and all toads are actually more comfortable on land, whereas frogs prefer to be wet. Tabitha is an amphibian, which means that she can live both in and out of the water. Okay, boys and girls, during the next part of the read aloud, listen for the main idea. Here it comes. So there you have it. Fish, reptile, amphibian, 3 groups of cold-blooded creatures. Their body temperatures change depending upon where they are, becoming warm when their surroundings are warm and cold when it's cold around them. Because they do not have a constant body temperature, they can easily become too hot or too cold. They have developed characteristics and behaviors so that they can live in certain habitats. Okay, boys and girls, do you remember the main idea that I just talked about in that paragraph? Fish, reptiles, and amphibians are all cold-blooded. Okay, you're going to pause the video, take out your activity page 3.2, and mark on your foldable that fish, reptiles, and amphibians are cold-blooded. And then press play on the video to continue on with the story. Let's learn a little bit about 2 of my other friends. My warm-blooded friends, a bird, Ebenezer Egret, and a fellow mammal, Hippo. Mammals and birds produce their own body heat internally, which keeps their body temperature on the same degree all the time. One thing's for sure, Ebenezer Egret does not put on a winter coat like you do when it's cold outside. Of course, he doesn't need to put on any extra coat because he already has a brilliant coat of feathers. Feathers help keep Ebenezer warm. Want to know an interesting fact that Ebenezer shared with me while I was visiting South Africa? Egret's beautiful white feathers were once prized by hat makers who used them for the sake of women's hat fashion and beauty, not warmth. Imagine that! Birds that live in cold climates sometimes travel south for the winter to make it easier to stay warm and find more available food. Often, physical characteristics help an animal stay warm. Ebenezer wears a coat of feathers, and I wear a coat of fur. Are you wondering what Hippo uses for a little additional warmth because she doesn't have fur? Let's take a look and see. I have a bit of news for you. In the hot tropical climates of Africa where Hippo lives, trying to stay cool is a more common occurrence than trying to stay warm. Hilda's body design is perfect for helping her stay cool. She has a nice layer of blubber that insulates her and helps her float. Hippopotami spend lots of time in the water of lakes and rivers to escape the heat. Can you see any other characteristics of the hippopotamus that help it stay in the water for long periods of time? Wow, good observations! You notice how having its nostrils, eyes, and ears on the top of its head lets the hippopotamus keep most of its body underwater where it can stay cool. Ebenezer also uses water to stay cool. Even though egrets can't swim, they do spend lots of time wading in the water, mostly to get their dinner. They feast on fish and toads and plenty of insects in order to store up the energy needed to keep their body temperature constant. Well, everybody, our time is up for today. You've learned a lot about the taxonomy of cold-blooded and warm-blooded animals, so now you can fill in your foldable. I can't wait to see you again and continue with the show. Bye for now.